Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is John. I'm an American that's been living here in Guangdong, China for 14 years now. As you can see, I'm outside right now. I'm actually on my lunch break from work, and I'm going to have some coffee, and I'm going to chat to y'all a little bit today about China's education system. I'm going to tell y'all the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the reason why I'm sharing this with y'all for several reasons. Number one, if you are a foreigner who's considering to come to China to live and work, this will be helpful information for you. Number two, if you're a Chinese person who is living here and you have children or you're considering having children, these are some things that will also be very helpful or useful for you. And especially if you have kids who are in school already, there's going to be some things here that you might want to consider when it comes to education in China, because a lot of people just don't really know what goes on in the schools here. So we're going to talk about all those things today. But first, I got to get some coffee. So I just finished my lunch actually, and I have 2.5 hours. So I'm just walking to a coffee shop that's just nearby work, and gonna grab a coffee and sit down and we'll have a little chat. So for now, on the way, I'll just show you around a little bit. So let's have a look what's going on here on the street. So you can see here where I was just at. My work is just back here behind this buildings here. So I'm just walking through this kind of shortcut here. But yeah, the coffee shop we're going to, it's just across the road over here, like down this road over here. So we're gonna cross the street and then go through the alley. So you can see there's a lot of traffic out right now, and that's because it's lunchtime. So you have some lunchtime traffic, people going to eat lunch and all that kind of stuff. See this building right here in front of us over there. The coffee shop is kind of right next to that building. So just gonna walk over there. This is Dongfeng district here in Zhongshan. So if you're not familiar with Zhongshan, it's like where my work is. But here, according to Wikipedia, there's about 3 million people living here in the city. And I'm not sure exactly how many are living in this town. But my guesstimate would probably be about 500,000 or so. But I'm just guessing, I don't really know. But I know in Zhongshan City, it's about 3 million people. So yeah, just some information in case you didn't know about that. But this city is actually located kind of right next to Guangzhou, and also right next to like Hong Kong and Macau. We're really close. Like for me to go to Hong Kong, it's about 1 hour on a boat, like just get on a ferry and go across the bay and I'm in Hong Kong. And for Macau, it's about a 45 to 50 minute drive by car from here to Macau. So very close to, cheap airports and stuff like that. You can see right here on the corner, this little shop right there in front of me. It's called Nice Coffee. Here it's about 10 RMB for a coffee, so it's like, I don't know, like about $1.50 or something like that. Pretty cheap. Anyway, I'm gonna grab this coffee and then go sit down and we'll have our chat about the education here. See y'all over there. right, so I got my coffee in hand. Now we're gonna go up here to this little area over here. It's usually quiet, so we're gonna go over there and have a seat, and we'll talk about it. All right, so I got me a comfortable little seat here outside. It's a little bit noisy because there's some construction going on above me, actually. Look, got my coffee here. So let's talk about the education here in China. The reason why this popped in my mind is because actually I got really frustrated with the situation that came up at work today. And so this kind of sparked the idea for this video. So when it comes to the education in China, I've had really great experiences, but I've also had some really bad ones, which is kind of what I'm going through right now. It's a really bad experience with my current job, and I am looking for another job. But overall, when it comes to working here in China and working in education, so being a teacher, right? Overall, it's been a really great experience. It's been really rewarding, especially when you're teaching young kids. You really see a lot of progress really fast. Like for example, like in a kindergarten, for example, kids when they come, they usually don't know anything. And you can really see the progress and growth really fast as far as, them gaining all these capabilities, like even being 2 or 3 years old and can speak a second language. For me, it's just amazing that they are capable of doing that. And so when it comes to the rewarding experience for the job, it can be really good in that aspect by watching the younger kids grow and evolve and just really pick up all these cool skills. It's really rewarding experience. But there are some downsides to it. There's a lot of politics and stupid things that you have to deal with quite often from people who don't know anything. So I've had people, for example, tell me that I didn't know what I was talking about, like how to spell a word in English, because in American English and British English oftentimes we'll spell words differently or something like that. For example, like the word color, right, is like COLLOR. British people will be like COLOUR. And I've had bosses tell me that I was wrong in the way I spelled, and I'm like, well, I'm American. It's how we spell these things in America. Like when you put some decoration or something like that in the classroom and they see that, or they see you writing something on the board and you spell it a certain way, like you spell it an American way. And if they're British or like they learned British English, they will just automatically assume you're doing it wrong. They don't know the difference. And they'll pressure you or cause you trouble about it, try to force you to change. And it's the same for British people. Like sometimes they'll spell it their way and some bosses will say things about it. Like, oh, this is wrong, blah, blah. Just little stupid things like that will really, they poke you and jab at you until eventually you get angry about it because you're like, look, I'm, a native speaker, I have a passport from this country. I think I know how to speak or how to spell things in my own language, right? I don't need you who can barely even speak English to tell me how to, do these things. So you'll come across those kind of situations and it can be annoying, but you just kind of have to brush it off and just keep going. Don't pay attention to it because some of those people don't know what they're talking about. I've had people even tell me that I didn't speak like a native speaker. I'm like, how would I not speak like a native speaker? I'm American. I'm born and raised in America. I spent my whole life in America, except for the time, I've been living abroad here in China. So how do I not sound like a native English speaker? I don't get it. I've had Chinese people tell me that. So it's really confusing and kind of frustrating. But here's some of the things you need to think about, right? When it comes to working in China as a foreigner, your salary and stuff will probably be very good, especially compared to local people. You're going to earn more money. But there's other things that you give up to get that money, right? For example, you have to leave your home country behind, leave all your family and friends behind. You're eating different foods that you're not used to eating. Some problems arise too, like when it comes to certain things that you need for daily life, such as medical care and things like that. Oftentimes it can't be done in English, so you got to have assistants and all these people help you and do all these other things. So you get compensated a little bit more money for those inconveniences in life, but the compensation is pretty good and the work hours are decent or normal, I would say. Like usually, for example, in my case, I'll work at 8 in the morning and I leave work at 5:40 in the afternoon. But in the middle of the day, I have 2.5 hours for lunch break, which is what I'm at now. Is on lunch break and just relaxing, having a coffee. Now, when it comes to some of the bad things, now this is geared, I guess we say more towards Chinese people who have children in school in China or considering putting their children in school, or if you're a foreigner who's moving to China and you have children and your children will have to go to school here, right? There's some things that you really, really, really need to look out for and pay attention to, and that you really need to vet these schools before you work there, but also before you put your children in some of these schools, because some of the things they do is really not beneficial for the children's education. So one of the examples I'll give you, like right now here in China, it's kind of like the midterm, like time for midterm exams when it comes to students. And like the bosses in my school told me last week on Thursday that I need to prepare my midterm exam for the students because I need to do my exam starting today, which is Monday. At the time of this filming, it's Monday. They told me I need to start my exam today. So I prepared everything. I went to my first class this morning and started giving my exams. It's like my exams are like, it's kind of like oral English exam, but we also do listening practice and some other things, but it's one-on-one, like face-to-face, one student, one teacher, right? And so I started doing my exams, finished the class, and then right after the class, then I got a message from somebody who's not even my boss, but they said the boss told them to tell me to stop doing my exam and don't do my exam. They said there's not going to be an exam this year for my class, but there is for other classes. And so I said, okay, but you told me to prepare the exam. I spent all my time preparing my exam, but I didn't prepare any classes because you said there's exams this week. So I gave exams. Now you want me to stop and do class, but I don't have any class prepared. And I have, 25 classes. When do I have time to prepare? Because all the time is teaching. So now they want me to teach classes that I didn't prepare for and not give exams. And then the next question I asked was, well, what about the grades? Are y'all going to come asking me for grades later? And I was, well, yeah, they get a report card. They need a grade. Okay, how am I supposed to give these students a grade for work that they didn't do? And they said, well, it's okay, just give them a score. I'm like, so just give them a score for work that they didn't do. Just give them a random score. They're like, well, you can't give them less than a B, right? They can only get a B, a B plus, A minus, A plus. You can't give less than a B. So if you've been here for 3 years and don't even know your own name, you still get a B. And there's no test. The test is canceled. So these kind of things, right? These things will not only make you frustrated, but they're also detrimental to the kids, and it's also deceiving the parents. And I literally asked, why did B the lowest score? And they said, oh, well, the parents won't be happy. But it doesn't matter about the parents' happiness. It matters about the child's education, right? Are they getting what they need? Are they learning what they need to learn? And the way to find that out is through tests and assessments to find out that they actually, learn what they've been being taught, right? Did they learn it? Did they, gain this knowledge? And so this is the first time I've seen this. I've seen this in other places in China as well, other schools. Not all schools do this. So that's why I'm making this video for people, especially for parents, right? You need to really pay close attention to what the school is doing to your child. You can't just rely on what they tell you, because they're going to tell you one thing and they're going to do something different, right? They'll tell you, oh, your kid's got a B, even though your kid, actually, they may be better than a B, or they may be worse, but it's not real. You don't really know how well your child is studying until they get like the official like statewide exam. Like, so the school's telling you, oh, your kid's perfect, they got an A, blah, blah. And then when you get the statewide exam, the schools have no control over the government exam. When the kids take it and then they fail it and do really bad, then the parents ask questions, like, what's going on? And they say, oh, maybe it's just like the test anxiety or something like that. It's not the case. The case is they didn't properly assess the kids, they gave them fake scores, and they lied to you about it. So keep that in mind when dealing with these types of schools and situations. Now, not all schools are like that, but one thing to pay attention to is the private schools, because private schools, it's a business, it's all about money, right? They want to earn money from the parents. when you're paying for these private schools, oftentimes they will lie to you just to keep you happy, so you keep paying money. But in reality, your child's not getting the care or attention or the education that they're supposed to be getting, right? So you got to really, really pay attention to these things. It's like a lot of these places will have lots of activities and events and stuff, and they invite you to school, and everybody looks all happy and all fun, all this and that. But they're spending all the time on this stuff, and not enough time actually, learning and studying, and not enough time assessing the children to see if they actually learned anything. So really pay close attention to this. And if you're a teacher or person who's considering being a teacher in China, you also need to pay attention to this when it comes to working here. You need to really pay close attention to the job you're looking for. When I say pay some close attention, I know it's hard to know what's going on inside of the place if you haven't already been in there working. So you really need to ask the right questions in terms of these type of things, right? For example, you need to ask them and make sure, are they providing materials for you to teach the children with? Secondly, you need to be asking them about the workload, like how many classes will you actually have per week? You need to ask them about like activities and events, like how many activities per year or per month are there in the school that you need to prepare for? Because if there's a whole lot of activities planned throughout the year, more than likely your classroom time or your exams and all these things are going to be suffering, and oftentimes they're not going to be beneficial to the kids, which for some of you teachers, you may not care, but some of us actually care about the result and what the kids actually get. And those things can really be frustrating as a teacher, like seeing that you're putting in all this effort and it's just kind of being taken away and the kids aren't getting what they need to get, right? So that's really frustrating, and it makes your job not rewarding. If your job's not rewarding, even if you get a lot of money, like me personally, I'd rather have less money and feel good about my job, right? So that's me. So if that's you, you may want to really consider asking the right questions and looking at the right places. So anyway, sorry for the rant. Hope I didn't go on too long, but I just wanted to let this be known to people who want to work here, and also to Chinese parents who have their kids in Chinese schools, some things to pay attention to and to look out for, so you can make sure that you're not being deceived just for some money, and that your child is getting the best education they can possibly get. Hope that's helpful. If you like this video, like the video. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Hit the subscribe button and let me know also in the comments below what you think about the topic of this education in China, and if you've had any problems with this kind of thing with your children here in China. And watch the next video, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Thanks for watching. See y'all next time.